Thank you. Very good morning to all of you. The topic for today's webinar is Management Accounting Key to Corporate Success. And the honorable speaker for the day is CA B. Shekhijarji. So before we start the webinar, I'd like to introduce Chairman of the committee, CA Anuj Goyalji. CA Anuj Goyal is the Chairman of Committee on Management Accounting and also Chairman of Research Committee, which is the oldest technical committee of ICAI. This is his fifth term in the Council of ICAI, and with this he has got more than 14 years of rich experience in Council, 3 years in Regional Council and 6 years in branch. He was also Chairman of Central India Regional Council. At the academic front, he is a meritorious scholar possessing all qualifications of CA, CS, ICWA, LLB, MCOM, BSN and DRM. And with this, we are getting all the guidance which is required to organize the program and run the committee from Anuj Goyal sir. With this brief introduction, may I request Anuj Goyal sir to kindly provide his welcome address and also introduce the speaker. See Anuj Goyal sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Surendra Palji, Honorable Secretary of the Committee on Management Accounting and entire team of the Committee on Management Accounting. Our Honorable guest speaker, very prominent chartered accountant and resource person, Shekhijar sir, who is going to cover very important topic for the profession, Management Accounting Key to Corporate Success. And friends, let me tell you, management accounting is very important for the nation, for the profession, and the chartered accountants are supposed to contribute in the best possible manner in the management accounting. And we are having all the knowledge, all the practical exposure. So there is no reason that whether we are in practice, whether we are in industry, that we can't contribute in the best possible manner in the field of management accounting. And for the success of any organization, I think management accounting is very important, and the chartered accountants are best suited professionals for this thing. And I'm quite confident that the chartered accountants, now we are trying our level best in the Committee on Management Accounting to have the best of the knowledge, post-qualification knowledge to the chartered accountants who are in practice, who are in industry. We are having MBF course, post-qualification course in management and business finance, and a lot number of chartered accountants ranging from the age of 21-22 years and up to the age of 57-58 years are the part of this very prestigious MBF program. And we are having very rigorous education in this MBF. We are having face-to-face classes with the help of the best of the management professionals, including the resource persons from the best of the management colleges, including IIMs. Then we are having the e-learning with the help of one of the most prominent management universities of the country, Manipal University, headed by none other than our own chartered accountant, Mohandas Pai sir. And then we are having residential training program with the help of one of the most prominent management institutes, JBIMS Mumbai, Jamnalal Gujarat Institute of Management Studies Mumbai. And then finally we are having the conducted by the examination committee of the ICAI. When he was a part of the committee meeting, he initiated that how we can have this MBF course even for the senior IAS officers, and even our committee as well as and very soon we'll see that even the senior IAS officers will also be joining this MBF course. And why this MBF course has been introduced? Earlier we were having that certification course, and now we are having the post qualification course, because for the success of any chartered accountant, whether he is in industry, whether he is in practice, I think it is very important to have the expert knowledge of management accounting. So I'm quite confident that all the viewers who are here in large numbers from each and every part of the world will certainly see that how, as a professional, as a successful professional, we can contribute for the nation, for the profession, and how we can contribute for the Atmanirbhar Bharat mission of the Prime Minister Modi, through which we can have the export-oriented units in the best possible manner, and we can have import substitute industries. And I think the management accounting can play a very, very vital role because we have to see that how we can minimize the cost and we can compete not only in the national market but also in the international market. So with these words, I once again welcome all of you, and may I request Vaisali Jagdi ji to introduce our guest speaker, Sikhijar sir.
Okay.
And I will request then Sikhijar sir for his words of wisdom. Vaisali Jagdi ji.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning, sir. C. Sekhijar sir has over 25 years of experience in audit, tax, and consulting. He has experience as a CFO and also board member. For over 25 years, he has been involved in visiting faculty for management development programs for corporate executives through various institutions like XLRI, NISM. He is trainer for board members and CFO development for large groups. In addition to all these, he has experienced large manufacturing, technology, and financial service industry clients. Recently, he has clients in investment management industry. He is also a regular resource person for ICAI seminars. Thank you. Sir, please proceed.
Yeah, can I share the slide?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
You're able to see?
Yes, sir. We can see.
Yeah. I can somehow. Thank you very much. I thank the chairman for giving me an. You can hear me, madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I thank the committee, chairman of the committee, and also the secretary of the committee for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts. And the presentation outline is going to be like this: current business environment, key principles of management accounting used, focus business areas, what are the business areas, and questions. So we are going to focus on current business environment. So if you see, currently the government as well as across all businesses and the society is grappling with whether how to increase the demand, and people are not spending and the economic activity has not started. There are still some industries like entertainment and public transportation which have not even started picking up. So the consumer spend has been the issue, and consequently the economic activity is still not in good swing. We expect people are saying that at least by 2021 December or even in the first calendar year 2022, maybe the beginning of calendar year will pick up the post-COVID, pre-COVID situation. The focus has been on health focus is the main thing. People are more, though the lockdown is over and unlocking is taking place, the health focus continues to be there because of vaccine not being in place. Consumer spend has been reduced. It is slowly increasing on certain areas. The latest government stimulus has also has its impact. We are finding some amount of spending taking place. Establishing customer trust is the main thing. Most of the industries are still, recent festival has seen a lot of activity, but coming Diwali, hopefully will have better impact. Job creation is also improving, and uncertainty still continues in certain sectors like services sectors where people are involved. For example, transportation and entertainment. Business continuity challenges continues in certain areas. Supply chain is reviving, and local focus is increased as against global focus. And digital and online in e-commerce is the real thing which is happening on this. Why management accounting? I think management accounting is more got to do with the future and also information, not only for compliance purposes, but also for decision-making purposes. So if you want to contribute as a professional, I think management accounting will help you. And most of the companies, the management accountant is the person who will contribute for the better growth of the business and where it can go. If you are a 100 crore company, you will move to 300 crore company. If you are a 1,000 crore company, you will move to 3,000 crore company and things like that. So this is where the management accounting comes in place. And today I have given some my entire presentation is going to be on the current business environment, and discussion is going to be on the business environment. I will run through my speech very quickly, and then the presentation will be shared by the committee on the website. And this is a very known thing, strategic and practical and operational. And resource allocation and monitoring is one big area which will differ depending upon the decision which is making. And top management is supposed to take strategic decision making, which is having long term. And current situation, you have even the day-to-day operations are being looked in by the top management because of the crisis situation. And currently, this presentation or the speech which I am giving, I have done some key principles of management accounting, and then I have taken the outcome of those in this discussion. Non-financial data is another big area, and decision making on long-term matters like L&D, maintenance, new product development, and things like that. And one area where we really stay put is how we look at constant improvements. And this particular COVID-19 will help you to look at making improvements in and the tools which I have used is setting the objectives for achievement. What are the key goals for the next few months and few quarters? How those objectives can be achieved and how to evaluate those things. And planning, decision-making, management accounting tool, decision-making is one more big area. And what are the strategic choices which one has, and how reliable is the information which is there given to us, and whether we have taken the complete information and understanding the consequences. And controls, actual results achieved, gathering the information and comparing it with the planned objectives and expected results, and revise the goals. And in this today's discussion, I've also looked at benchmarking. So what is happening across the globe? What is happening across the businesses? And if you see a lot of committees which government has appointed, and government has come out with some revival mechanism specific to each industry. So that also has been looked at by me, planning, analysis, action, and review with reference to benchmarking. And also the next area which I feel is value analysis. There is a technique in value analysis, though the value analysis technique is used in a different context in management accounting. But in the crisis, in this COVID environment, we are looking at the current business scenario. People are looking at utility value. So we have moved away from esteem value. The whole of the economy has gone into utility value. If you see the type of businesses which are flourishing are food, kirana walas, and the basic essentials. The so-called food and food processing and the core area. So you find that utility value has become the focus, and you find alternatively people want to be connected. So digital and e-commerce and other areas. So work from home. So the whole set of utility value has gone up, and esteem value has come down. So people are not going. So the current scenario is not the cars, the luxury segment with reference to entertainment or tourism or travel. So esteem value has taken a back seat. So this is value analysis is also another technique which I have used for this purpose. And the entire analysis of this is the 3 steps. Restart, which is when COVID situation came in the month of March, April, May, June. This we expected it to be over within 1.5 months, 2 months, but it didn't happen. But now March, April, May, June. This is the first step, and the second step is the second 4 months becoming strong. Even today certain businesses like fine dining are still not restart. So that is step one. Step two is becoming strong. Once you start the business again, you start operating it for 2 months and 3 months, you become stronger. And third is how are you going to move towards growth state. These are the 3 steps which classification of business activities I have categorized. And the first area which has come out of my analysis is customer focus. So what are customer wants? So today the business is looking at wants. So you find customer is confined to the home, and customer is confined to the place where he is living, and there is no. So one is the wants, and the second is needs. Customer needs. What are the needs? And third is aspirations. People would like to get connected. Social media has become very active. Netflix has been used very extensively. You find quite a bit of entertainment happening through home front through digital platforms. And the fourth, demand. What is the demand which the customer is having? Today, online shopping has become a demand. So you find customer willing to pay money for people coming to the house for doing services through e-platforms. And the expectations also, the government has done its bit to keep the supply side alive by a lot of credit across the globe. Governments have done stimulus. Incentives have been provided. So you find expectations for also the customer is also changing over a period of time. Today, people are not interested in going out. People are not keen in travel. So you find those customer experiences have changed. So we need to list down. If I am running a business, I need to see what are the wants, what are the needs, what are the aspirations, what are the demands, what are the expectations, and what is the experience which I am coming across. So if you get into the customer need, the customer himself has been redefined. Today, in certain businesses, there is no customer. So today I find, the long travel, people don't want to travel. So this is, who is your customer? Customer needs and wants has to be redefined and repositioned. In many businesses, they have got certain unexpected customers. So you find that entire people, say, for example, takeaway. Takeaway is a very new thing where people would like to order foods from home, but still they don't want to go venture into restaurants. So expectation management, and what are the contractual obligation of my customers? Whether customer would like to fulfill the order which he has placed for the past 1 year. Suppose I have regularly supplying components to automobile industry. Now that the automobile industry is not producing the quantity which is expected, so what is the way forward? Contractual obligations. And as I explained to you, the utility value and the esteem value has taken a backseat. Customer changes. Today, consumption patterns have changed. So what is the consumption pattern of the customer? So this the management accounting, entire production and marketing and sales have to sit together and map the consumption pattern of my customers, and then reposition my business according to that requirement. For example, B2B, whether B2B is happening or not, people would like to go for B2C. People like to directly connect with customers. So how are you going to realign your business according to B2C requirement as against B2B, which you had done before? So if you are dependent on very limited number of customers in the past, and those customers have shut down, how are you going to find new customers? This is another big area which businesses are trying to explore. Many businesses are trying to figure out how they reach the eventual customer. How do they pick up the supply chain or the digital marketing or the market changes which are taking place to the reaching out? And if they have been dependent on few customers, how are you going to reach to the larger number of customer base? And for example, big companies like Unilever, Hindustan Lever and Unilever, sanitizer suddenly it used to constitute about a few percentage, 5-6%. Now it is contributing 20% of their business. Suddenly, globally, they have changed the sanitizer production capability, and they have spoken to multiple channel partners who can produce it and supply. So you need to do that. For example, companies like Parle G have come back and said that for the past 80 years, our consumption has not, our sales has not been so big. But now the past 5 months, my sales has been so big when compared to my past existence of 8 years. So you find there are a lot of positive stories. There are negative stories. You find completely across the globe, malls have been shut down. So you have about thousands of malls have been shut down, and people have lost jobs. Airlines have been closed, and you find this has impact in large industries, and business has to factor this in business continuity. And then getting into consumer business implication, you need to see how customer behavior is affecting your business. For example, today, if I'm not well, I don't want to go to a hospital. I would like to have a consultation at home. I would, because hospital industry also got into segmentation of COVID hospital and non-COVID hospital. And I know doctors who have decided not to go to hospitals, not to treat patients till January. So you find the both the demand side and supply side behavioral changes is affecting the business, and the consumer behavior has to be factored in the way business is run. So as a strategist, as a CFO, as a CEO, one has to look at how your business has to reposition. And the next area is attracting customers, selling customers, and delivering. So you have attracting customers. How are you going to make the sales? How are you going to reach out the new customers? And third is delivering the products through e-platform and things like virtual mode. So everybody has gone into virtual mode, and you find that this is changing the way business is run. And large businesses like Big Bazaar and people who are dependent on malls, they have to reposition, or they have to, if they can't survive, they have to sell it. They have to renegotiate the terms with the credit providers and lenders. So engaging with the customer becomes very important. Most of the companies constantly engage with customers. Even after the Reserve Bank of India has told the banking system to pump liquidity into the system, the liquidity is not that much, because there are issues, NPAs, and the banks have merged, and new banks, there are some transition issues and things like that. So engaging with the customer, even banking system and credit off take. Because NBFCs and banks and credit card providers as a customers, so capacity. Are you having people to go and do work? Today, people don't want to come out. So even if I have workload, people are not willing to come to the office and work. So whether you will be able to meet the customer expectations. And the next area is reputation. So reputation is one area where business have to worry about their reputation, and how as a business your reputation is going to be kept intact. And then so very important is retain the customers and servicing the customer with the least physical interaction has been the big issue. And each of the businesses are working, and they are working to see that they deliver the service through models by which the customer intimacy is taken care. The next area which I thought I will highlight is connecting with the customer. So today, who is the customer? Is it a digital customer or is it a physical customer? So you have a very big situation with reference to digital customer, how the digital customer has to be handled as against physical customer. And if you are put money on serving physical customer, how are we going to move it towards a digital customer? And digital version of existing offering. This is one big area. Now businesses are working across the globe how to convert their offering into digital version of their offering. So today, even one of the earliest respondents to this is this healthcare industry, where they came out with the regulatory guidance on you can do consultation through online. So the doctor can reach out to the patient through online. So you find that the entire gamut of businesses are trying to see how to create a digital version of their business. And the next area is communicating the business changes to customers. How quickly you can communicate your business changes. So this is again another area today. Thanks to this, when compared to 2000 to 2005, you had this .com bust. Whereas now most of the businesses are already digital enabled, and today if you say that most in many businesses, the businesses have achieved digital growth to the extent of about 30%. I mean, what they could achieve 3-4 years or 5-6 years. So whatever could be achieved in the 5 years towards digital. The next area is physical distancing. One more area is physical distancing. How physical distancing is affecting demand and supply. So demand and supply, and how many customers you can serve with this physical demand. For example, you see airline industry, and even in hospitals, and even in every area where you go there, you find physical distancing becoming a constraint for the number of people you can serve. So this is another area, and already lockdown has opened up areas like metro, and you find complete physical distancing criteria coming into place. So the whole pricing, the whole costing, you have to rework on the number of people whom you engage, the number of trips which you will make, and every business has its own challenges on account of this physical distancing and production related issues. The next area is customer opportunities. So customer opportunities have changed, and the customer strategy with reference to how you will run your business, and with the changing expectation of the customer, and many businesses, for example, many businesses have suddenly got a new set of customers. They say previously they were serving a set of customers because their shops were their business was at a particular place, but with the lockdown, they have got connectivity through the e-platform or some other opportunities based on word of mouth or based on different users. Suddenly, new found customer. For example, Indian pharmaceutical companies have got global opportunity to supply medicines across the globe. So you find the new set of customers are also there, and yesterday customer is also has to be served. How as a business you are going to serve the previous customer cluster and the current customer cluster, and most promising opportunity. How can you capitalize? So again, for example, in India today, one of the areas where people are working on is cold storage chains. So vaccine is going to become a reality, and if vaccine is going to be delivered across the globe, across the various jurisdictions, across even various geographies, how people are going to deliver that vaccine, and how are the vaccine administration is going to happen. If you see some of the videos from China, you find that customers are standing in queue. See, if you have seen last 15 years, whenever iPhone is being launched in the US, you will find queues. Now, if you find the same type of queues in China with reference to vaccine, and you find pharmaceutical companies getting geared up from R&D and how to reach the vaccine to the market. And very large companies have spent millions of dollars on vaccine development, and you find Russia coming in with. So you find every industry is looking at how to rework on the customer opportunity and how to keep the customer trust and loyalty. This is a very interesting. Most of the businesses have customer trust and loyalty. How are they working out? And you find huge amount of digital spend on advertisements on various products, digital market and blended market, and additional resources for supply compared to the competitors. This is again a very, very interesting, and you find that competition is also a very big dimension. So people are working on how am I going to reach out to the customer? How am I going to make a difference to my my customer by my ability to deliver what I promised. So the entire gamut of digital connectivity, digital experience, delivery with reference to supply chain, by which customer is happy with what I promised, I deliver it quickly as against competition. So this customer opportunity segment has competition element, which every business is trying to work out what is the competitor doing as against what I am doing. Then the next area is business channels. Optimizing customer channels. News channels have come into existence. Previously, I never expected to go out of my area where I'm providing my service, but now I need to reach the customer where customer is there. Today, people have migrated to their native places. People are living in their houses. So you find that customer, the channel which you are using for reaching out to the customer has to be different. For example, the pharmaceutical industry has to work on logistics supply chain for delivering goods. Today you have six of the pharmaceutical companies have announced opening up of shop in Latin America and also Mexico. So meeting the needs of remote customer has been the focus. One is looking at satisfying the remote customer. How do you see that? How do you work on building your additional capacity? If you are a TCS or Wipro or Infosys, how are you trying to hire new employees? So today you find in Mumbai market, you find a huge amount of recruitment taking place because people are not coming out of the house, and quite a bit of large investments have been made by the multinational companies in an emerging market like India. You find people are happy to come out of the job because anyhow they are at home, so some recruiter is calling them. So you find quite a bit of people trying to leave the jobs, and working from home has created its own challenges for HR. And the recruitment industry is becoming robust with reference to reaching out to people who are at home. And the next area is the business implications, long-term business implication, how your customer base is going to be changed. So, see, each of the businesses are working on. For example, you find Tata Consumer is looking at how the business mergers and acquisition between Reliance and the Future Group is going to affect their business. So, long-term implication of your customer base and the revenue model change. See, it's very, very important. Certain sectors are looking at revenue model change. For example, TCS has decided to work from home for the next few quarters. So till such time it is going to be announced. So revenue model itself is going to undergo a change, and there are certain industries have decided that we will make US hiring more. So you find that the pharmaceutical industry landscape has changed because the government has given large number of incentives, and you find, for example, defense. The defense, we have 108 items have been banned from import. So you find that the whole set of industry is trying to position itself in make in India. So you find real estate is worried about future of commercial real estate, and industries like travel, tourism, fine dining, airlines, local. So you find those industries are still in step 1; they are not in step 3. So business implications, one has to look at long-term business implications. One has to look at how you are looking at that. Then customer and brand loyalty, you find movies, cinema halls, and malls. For example, I will tell you one area where government procurement has become digital. And now government agency, government authorities, government department are open to doing business through online. Today, assessments are done online. You find people are, previously we used to go and wait outside the government department. Today they say, you don't come, we will do online, or you call me up, you send me email. Today the way customer is doing business, the entire government procurement system has undergone a shift. And business travel, is the fate of business travel because of these changes, whether hospitality, tourism, travel, food, all wherever there is a huge amount of travel involved for people to travel to Delhi, people travel to Mumbai, to district headquarters. So people are today prefer to do business through online or phone. So you find customer implication in industries which are connected to the spend, which are previously required. Now they are no longer required. So you find companies are trying to find out how to reposition themselves with this type of changes. And people like Bill Gates are telling that the travel will not come back to its position, and people will prefer video conferencing and things like that. So then this opens up a new digital opportunity. So the businesses are reworking on digital, how to reinvent your business model. So are you taking advantage of digital world? So now very clearly we need to look at, there is no point in telling that I am sitting at home or I am consumer. You need to see how we go digital. How are we going to reinvent our business and take advantage of this digital world? How are we going to digital product, people or digital services and reinvent the entire thing in digital areas. So if you don't align with customer, you are out. So the final message which I want to tell you is businesses have to focus on customer, and customer, you need to align with customer, reach out to the customer, redefine your customer strategy, and rework on the entire business support system to deliver to customer experience. And the next area which I thought I will focus is, which came out of my analysis, is getting the cash flows in order. So this is if you see the history of businesses across 200 years, the companies which have died, the businesses which have collapsed, the people who have shut down shop, are those people who did not have cash. So cash is the king, and you may have loss, you may have customer loss, but if you don't have cash, you are dead. So the very important thing, the focus of the business has been on customers, and I feel that as a management accountant, we need to look at focus. How do we increase the focus on cash? So business health focus. So the current finances, current liquidity. So whether have you got an accurate assessment of your current finances and liquidity? That is why you need to keep on looking at. I know companies which assess this on a daily basis, morning and evening, and those are the businesses which survive for long. And how much cash account you have? How much is your bank account balance? How much is your credit limit? What is the OD limit? What is the credit terms? What is the debtors position? Whether debtors will pay or not? What is the supplier's credit? What is the whether we can leverage that? What is the access to equity? Large businesses like Reliance could swing into action, get huge amount of cash inflows. You have businesses like Tata's who are trying to work on models by which they can create enough cash outflows. So you find what is the known cash flows, revenues, how do you get the known cash flows, fixed and variable expenditure. You have to focus on what is the fixed expenditure, what is variable expenditure, how to cut fixed expenditure and cost. Negative, if you have negative cash flows, how are you going to manage that? How are you going to ensure that cash is not going to be evaporated? How much time you have to, you have before the cash is going to become zero? The effect of ceasing of government stimulus. See, the government stimulus will come only for some time, but how are you going to manage that beyond that period? So, and for example, moratorium with reference to credit thing has substantially helped. However, banks went and made a representation and tried to say that don't give moratorium and things like that. So you find every business across the globe, German, Japan have come out with relief packages. So find the government, even now, government of India is working on giving more stimulus. They are open to more stimulus, and they are working on category by category of each of those businesses. And if you are in a business, you need to figure out what are incentives, which the level of liquidity which you are enjoying, how long you are going to do, and how much you are planning for the next steps which you are doing. So this is another area which came out of my analysis. And action for managing cash flows tightly. So how tightly you can manage cash flows, what is necessary, what is not necessary, how you manage the sit on cash. This is the focus area. You need to make every tool available in management accounting on cash flow management in the current scenario. Whether you took advice, many times people don't take advice. See, for example, I am not sure whether the companies which have sold out, whether they took advice or not. Basically, whether you have connected with your banker, have you spoken to the alternative finance provider or NBFCs or other, whether you have enjoyed the full repayment holiday, have you increased the limits, have you got better terms? For example, in unorganized money market, the interest rate has gone down by 1/3. So that is because people are able to negotiate a better rate of interest. And globally, the interest rates have become 0.25. In places like Japan, it is negative. And you find in London, it is 0.25. And in the United States of America, it was 0. And it is now moving towards 0.25. You find the interest rate changes are going to be effective. And inventory levels, what is the inventory level and what is the assets? How can you convert that inventories into cash or assets to cash? And one has to look at a strategy on this. And then for that, you need advice. Are you speaking to your financial management advice? Are you seeking access to cash reserve? Have you explored all the possibilities to get additional cash and you will sit on cash, access to cash reserve with a short notice? So I find that businesses have to spend time on this, and you need to look into speaking to the advisors, and also you need to see what competition is doing on this. And then cash flow priorities. Have you improved your cash flows? Have you improved your cash flows? Have you increased the demand for your products and services? Have you found out alternative methods by which you can move your sales, by which you create cash? So how have you managed your demand with reference to price changes? There are industries where people have reduced price. There are industries where people have come out with methodologies by which they will look at moving the inventory to the customer's doorsteps. And cost reduction, how to stop costs which are unwanted. How do you ensure that you can defer some costs? So it is very, very important for you as a business to look at how do you reduce your cost without compromising your quality, at the same time conserve cash. And insufficient cash, have you taken steps to consult? Have you done scenario planning? There is something called scenario planning. Next stage of recovery, how are you going to manage your cash flows? This cash flow planning and budgeting is a very dynamic thing, and on a day-to-day basis, you need to align with your treasury and see that you are working on managing the cash flows. So again, have you availed options for assistance? Stimulus package, now 10%, 20% limits, relief programs, and you found that each industry there has been some incentives. For SME, a special package. Many times people decide at Delhi level or Bombay level, but whether it is trickling down to the district level, whether the branch manager of a bank is he been instructed, or the merger of the bank, whether it is holding up decisions for disbursals of loans because you are banking with a bank which has got suddenly merged with another bank, though instruction has gone from already before. Immediately after the merger, the finance minister as well as the Reserve Bank has told that don't stop credit flow, but decision making has been slow. So we need to see, if I am a business, I need to communicate constantly with who is the stakeholder. If there is a new manager has come, I need to go and speak to him. I need to solve the problem. I cannot worry about that. In some countries, they have given accelerated depreciation. They have said instant write-off of assets. So in some countries, they have come said that you 100% write-off. That means they are boosting. In this year, if you have got profit, you are allowed to buy assets and then write it off in the same year. So leasing models have undergone change. Government grants have come in. So loans, loans, whether you have enjoyed limits and new loans, have you gone and worked on new loans? The next area will be like sustainable growth. How are you working on that pricing strategy? Whether you are looking at a pricing strategy, and have you looked at slow-moving products and seen that you are working on a method by which you are increasing the sales? And then whether deferred cost, loan model. For example, if the customer doesn't want to pay the full amount, you work on a model by which you can work with a loan provider. For example, HDFC Bank and Tata's have collaborated for car sales. So you find that at least demand is picking up with reference to those products where there is a repackaged. The whole offering has been repacked. Collaborate with multiple people and see that increase. For example, you have recently Government of India has given leave travel assistance can be utilized for the purpose of products of household items. You find that now you find at doorsteps people coming with a loan and saying that motivating you to throw away the old items and buy some new items through loans. And you find induced savings. Today we have reached a level in lockdown where the savings have been greater than spending. Unwanted savings, people have realized what is the necessity. So you find that there is quite a bit of savings which is net spent, and people are each industry trying to work around that to see that they are motivating the customer to spend. So this is a very big area where people have to spend intelligent time and see that how do I reposition my business according to the economic situation of the customer. So this is a very big area, sustainable growth, and working on creating a strategy by which I increase my sales. Then the next area is alternative financial support. This is a very big area. Preparedness for fundraise. This is again, though people are working, and I would say I would credit the entire corporate India which raised money for their robust preparedness for raising funds. So you need to have a business support system to raise money, dealing with a banker, dealing with a credit provider, dealing with the stock market. One area which I still astonished is stock markets never stopped. It has never stopped. So to that extent, there have been promoters who are waiting for fundraise. They are looking at buyback. You find, preparedness for fundraise is very important. Discussions constantly with people, banker and merchant banker and things like that. So ongoing reporting for the banker is also another area where you need to see. This is transparency. Business has to be transparent with the service, the credit provider. So ongoing reporting to the banks, procedures, compliance, cash utilization and process. And this is a very huge area. See, you need to deal with the financial service the system. And that requires some amount of preparedness, both in terms of loan applications and credit applications, and also the compliance with procedures with reference to inventory levels and reporting of sales and things like that. And then another area where people are still struggling to work is establishing with the supplier terms. This whole supplier and the credit terms with customers. So you find defaults and you find people not willing to pay if you already supplied goods. And I find in certain industries, lockdown, the first 3 months, the supply chain was working very well. But after that, it got into deadlock because people are not paying. So the inventory is moving, but money is not coming. So one has to look at the supplier terms and as well as in the customer terms. And this inventory working capital management cycle monitoring is a very big area which becomes focus of many businesses. And you have to monitor and you need to constantly communicate. The next area is business efficiency. Have you looked at operating costs? Whether inefficiencies, waste has been waste management. If I don't need, one of the successful business tool is minimizing waste and stop bleeding. So you will have to improve cash flows. So whether spend on IT, marketing, sales, HR, logistics, production. Have you looked at it? There are some businesses which have been very fast to come back and say we don't want, discontinue the operations. For example, construction industry. Of course, you saw the fallout of that, people migrating and issues like that. Preserving cash is one big area. Supplier, do they need support? You are not in the short run. You are in the long run. You work with suppliers. So do the suppliers need support? Do they need collaborating with the suppliers along with the banker? So whether customers need extended credit. So there are businesses which have gone and told that fine, we will supply, but you pay us later on. So business efficiency and operations, seeing that the wheel is running, and this is a very big step which one has to look at. Whether you are going to invest additional. See, there are businesses which have gone ahead and invested. Many businesses have opened factories. There are people who have opened new businesses during this period. Investment during turbulence. You look at future and see, and this particular wave will go away. In another 24 months from now, we will not remember this only. So there are fund houses from abroad have come into India, and you find people. There are 15 fund houses have been invited by the Prime Minister to his office to look at investment in India. And you find that there are certain sectors where you find foreign funds, and even domestic funds are looking at investing, timing of these investments. And you need internal teams and external teams to support you for attracting. And when a fund manager comes and or when a banker looks at you, he looks at your ability to scale during this difficult period before providing your money. And you need to have a long-term objective, and you need to look at long-term as against short-term when you are looking at, and you create infrastructure and you work on all this cash flow, investment management decisions and tools have to be at your disposal in order to attract long-term investors. The next area which I want to focus is digitally enabling business. This is the biggest area. This is the transformation. This is the disruption which has happened in the past 5 months. What we would have achieved 5 years or 8 years, we have achieved today. So digitally enabling the business, digitally making the business. So this area has single biggest area, and every business is grappling with this, how to address this. So how do you digitally enable your business? Hardware, software, applications, remote working, enabling staff, access, and digital enablement of business, whether supply chain or customer reach, everything comes under this. How do you digitally enable your business? This is a very big area. Even today, as we speak, we have members of our profession. Faceless assessment. Government has come back and saying that faceless assessment. They have recently, Reserve Bank of India has come out with a guidance of ensuring that in the next 3 to 5 years, we will not hear a word called check. They have said check will not be there. So you are working on a model where everything is going to become digital, and we have to reposition our area. The next area which came out in my analysis is this digital spend on cyber compliance and cyber risk addressing. So you have hardware and application security, you have encryption and multi-factor authentication. So when people are working, so you are, say you find I remember that in the month of March, April, May, people have started complaining that their phone has been attacked, or that. So you find a whole issue of your work from home and areas have their own risk of whether you got it approved, when approved software, security implication of flexible working environment, business continuity plan, incident response plan, up to date, whether it is there. So this is the entire gamut of security, digital security, cyber security. It has got priority for many businesses. When many companies have announced to work from home, one of the areas they need to address is this cloud related risk issues and challenges and how to minimize. The next area in this digital enabling, platform optimization. See, this platform optimization has certain things like suddenly you find the volume of business has gone up, and you find e-commerce and digital operations have gone manyfold, and you find the platform becoming slow. And IT infrastructure is very difficult to handle. IT infrastructure, this is where a company like Amazon have invested huge amount of money in the past because they started with books and they have platform Amazon web server, and you find IT infrastructure, whether it can handle the business in a remote model or not. So today, cloud, I find from many service providers, people who have been sleeping on cloud infrastructure has suddenly woken up and said we need cloud. They are investing on cloud. Speed, how fast is your infrastructure, and speed, response system, and whether systems upgrades are taking place, communication with IT service providers, vendors, and managed service, on-site support. One more area is on-site support, whether on-site support is robust, whether your service provider is providing on-site support or not. So this whole digital way of working and digital platforms have created this type of opportunity as well as challenges. So platform optimization is a very big area, and we need to, companies are grappling with this. And that business processes, whether business processes are IT enabled, with this, whether once this particular thing is there, you are going to have the new way of running businesses, a physical workplace versus virtual workplace. So you are finding that today most of the companies are motivating their employees to stay at home. And I have found recently many employees don't want to sit at home. They want to go and work in a place. They don't want to remain at home. Today, with March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, 8 months, people are not willing to sit at home. So I find in many of the IT companies, people want to come to the office, and companies doesn't want to see them. And you find, I have seen many companies where people said, okay, you want to come, you come. But we will not give you AC, we will not give you canteen, we will not give you car. And there are companies where they make it mandatory for everybody to undergo a COVID test. Multinational companies are making it mandatory for people to have COVID test for every employee. So you find, whether business processes have to undergo change. What are the business processes which have to undergo change because of this? Whatever the new norm which we have created, are we going to reverse that? So if I have got A, B, C processes for March, April, May, June, July, now how am I going to relax? For example, the whole list of companies which have come back and announced that we are allowing business travel to come. So there are now many companies which are FMCG companies have said now we will request our salespeople to go to the market. So business processes are undergoing change. And business processes have to undergo change according to the latest development which are taking place in the marketplace. So what is the bandwidth and things like that? The next area which is very, very interesting is digital touch points. Some areas like privacy concern. One area is privacy concern, cyber security concern, use of personal equipment. Whether people can use their personal equipment for business purposes, or multinational companies are going to come. Many companies are motivating their employees to use their personal asset for the purpose of digital platform. So developing digital version of your offering, very important. How are you going to create a digital version of your own offering? Nowadays, I find movie makers are making 15 minutes movies. So because the whole industry has come to a standstill, they don't want to get into production of movies. So people are trying to find out innovative ways. So differentiating, how are you going to differentiating with the low physical contact and more physical contact? So people are working on how digital differentiation can happen, and transform your digital platforms, optimize your digital platform. So if you find the public announcement of some of the groups, you find Tata is looking at a super app for their digital retail platform, so which is trying to compete with Jio platform. Today, everyone is working on digital touch points. How do you reach the customer digitally? How do you respond to your customer digitally? And the next area is the digital way of working. Continuously dispersed. Workforce is now dispersed, and they are all working in different areas. So now you have video conferencing. So you find Google, you find Reliance, you find everyone, Zoom, and everybody is trying to compete with each other on this. And I find that even like prominent people who forecast. Yesterday, I saw a news item where Mr. Bill Gates have told the future of video conferencing is going to be amazing and people will be not willing to travel. So new softwares, common collaboration platforms, are you going to have your own platform? Are you going to allow employees to have their own platform of choice? And what is the effectiveness of tools and platforms? Blended model, physical versus physical partly, virtual partly. So employee preferences. You are going to have all types of complexities coming out of this on digital way of working. How much physical? For example, many companies have said every alternate today we will physically come to how. Some companies have announced once in a week you come. So you find different models on way of digital working, and this creates its own opportunities and challenges. And virtual enablement, hardware challenges in remote model. You find how are you going to have hardware being enabled, and sometimes you have to return the hardware. So you provide monitors, laptops gets into problems. So how are you going to work on the logistics on hardware management? Regular challenges on making enhancements. Say previously salespeople used to visit shops. Now they would like to get the orders through mobile and app and procurement system and agricultural market procurement. Today, everything has gone into virtual mode and people are trying to encourage people getting into digital mode. Digital, wherever there is a rework to be done, how are you going to work on that? So the next area is the productivity. See, this is a very big area. Productivity is the cause of concern. When people are working remote, what is the cutting edge of future remote working? Whether this is going to disrupt different industries. For example, entire real estate industry started working whether commercial real estate is going to lose its relevance. But again, we found that it is not going to be an issue. And you find companies, I remember that IBM experimented with this, what TCS is experimenting now, and finally IBM went back to working from office. So you find experience giving different things, but as of today, as COVID-19 is still in the marketplace, you find that remote working is the reality. Assessing patterns, use of devices, whether how people are using devices, remote working, physical workspace, use of own devices versus company devices, laptops, which process can be digitized, recruitment, onboarding, training. So you find companies are working over time to work on how to improve productivity. So in physical, where people have to come to the factory, there is no choice. People are visiting, working from factory, people are trying to do alternative working or whatever the model. But productivity is one more big area. How are you going to use digital area? Digital world is going to redefine productivity. The very important area in the digital opportunity is enabling of businesses infrastructure, bandwidth and access licenses. So you had access licenses, now you are working from remote, access licenses have to be renegotiated and terms have to be revisited, and monitor, printer, headphones, all types of access devices and remote working devices and virtual working place ecosystem. So you have to create ecosystems for digital infrastructure and even courts, even tribunals started telling that let us do online hearings, so faceless assessment. So you find the whole infrastructure mechanism has created a lot of opportunities, and the businesses have to relook at this area. So future digital opportunities, have you taken the advantage? See, we need to be shameless. See, if there is an opportunity, it is a reality that digital is the reality, and we need to, as a business, say, have you gone digital? Have you used digital or not? Have you started reworking on digital strategy of your business? And digital world is the reality, and it has arrived. I can only tell you that if you are not, say, I remember one story where newspaper reported on an August 15th went to the ship, and he was supposed to go to the ship and see flag hoisting or Independence Day celebration in a ship. And he went there, he found that that program was cancelled. So he came back and sat and said it is cancelled. And his boss came and looked at him at around 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. I said, why you didn't go to that ship? He said, no, that why that program got cancelled? He said, there is a fire accident in the ship. Then his boss started telling him, why have you not covered that incident? Because when everybody is reporting, Independence Day, we would have reported fire in the ship, definitely. So we need to, as a business now, there is an opportunity. Digital is a reality. We need to reinvent products. We have to reinvent services in the digital world, and we need to look at, digital offering. Digital offering and customer intimacy has to go up. Customer experience has to go up. Investing in cyber security is the reality. People have to look at digital security and trading, parameters. We need to B2B or B2C or whatever the model which people are working on. They need to factor the digital impact. And if you see businesses like cars, automobiles, everything is now into digital, and everyone is looking at seeing that the world is having digital addressed. The next area which I thought is supply chain. This is the whole of the universe is working on supply chain disruption. So across you take Australia, you take New Zealand, you take Japan, you take Mexico, you take Brazil. So every country is grappling. China, for example, the problem is what to do with inventory produced already if it is not moving. So you find that everyone is working on this. As a business, management accounting has to focus and help you to look at supply chain impact in decision making and planning. Supplier impact, who is your supplier? What is his fate? Where is he with reference to this COVID-19? When can he supply? Is he having some cash flow problem? How is his production working? Supplier impact, indicators, whether the economic indicators or lead indicators. Supply operators, supply operations. Are you looking at production, whether the supply operations is affecting your own production, and how the supply operations are robust to. Are you supposed to look out for a new supplier? So this is a whole area: working capital, pipeline, tax considerations, cost and timely supply, inventory, whether it is excess or shortage. So this whole focus on supply chain takes a priority, and I found that across the globe, people are working on seeing that this area is addressed and very seriously by most of the supplier network. Whether we need additional supplier, whether what is happening to our existing supplier communication. Are you in touch with your customer? Are you comply with your with the supplier? How good is the communication priority, or are you easy going to give you priority, or easy having a problem? How is the service? So the whole supplier network robust monitoring is important. Supply chain operations, cost control, production requirement, meeting the demand, cash with supplier. How much is the cash with the suppliers? How much you can leverage the credit terms? And what is the age of the inventory which you are having? What is the lost revenue? Are you replacing your lost revenue with some other product? Or what is the renegotiation? Or supply chain operations have to be re-looked, and it has to become robust on a daily basis. And technology infrastructure is, again, for supply chain purposes, again has to be this. I am not going to repeat whatever I discussed in digital is covered here, but nevertheless, one has to look at this impact. Supply chain has in fact created a lot of opportunities for Indian companies in pharma sectors and companies in the industries like food and pharma have become have got some opportunities, and I find that globally supply chain is undergoing re-look at by every industry. So are you looking at cyber security in supply chain? What is the transition which you are expecting in supply chain? So people think that 2022 is the time by which your supply chain will become normal. So very large manufacturing and for very industries, whether it is every sector, you find people are expecting supply chain to become normal. Though the movement of goods have not been stopped, but the economic impact has affected the supply chain with reference to multiple areas, and warehousing has become supply chain optimization, strategic collaboration, and new demand patterns and supply patterns have forced the supply chain to look at optimization. And warehousing, for example, Indian warehousing industry also is repositioning itself. And people are trying to build capacity. People are changing. Businesses are changing hands. Logistics investments have been made. People are putting money for logistics investment. Supply chain investments are taking place in a big time. And there are people who are having struggle because they have played a limited role in the end-to-end supply chain. So you find, as a business, we need to look at how we need to manage the supply chain. See, the next area which came in my analysis is the workforce. So the workforce is a big area. I think some of the businesses have not, apart from this technology companies and some service companies. See, the businesses have to relook at workforce in the new scenario. Workforce capability with reference to what type of people, how people will deliver what is being assigned, work from home, workplace, ways of working, how are you going to work in the new norm, workforce communication. This directly affects your operations. So this area of workforce capability, workforce planning, workforce ways of working, and workforce communication has got its priority. So this area has to be relooked at. Many companies have not understood this, but manufacturing sector companies and as well as HR have been, many CHROs have been working overtime on this, and this area has because you find the workforce is at a different area. The next area is workforce cost. What is the cost? How do you work on the cost? How do you renegotiate employment terms to manage the cash flows in the current scenario? How are you going to work on minimizing your cash flows? And even very large businesses like Tata Group has told that you have to treat employees fairly, because these people have worked for years together. And you find even we found yesterday Reliance Industries have rolled back their cost-cutting measures. So this entire digital way of working has affected the workflow supply. People are working from home now. Work from home is a reality, and virtual new class of the entire industry has moved towards virtual workforce. Today labor market, you can work from any part of the world, from any part. See, today you find that this is a reality. Okay. The next area is productivity. See, the productivity has been a big challenge in workforce. How do you manage the workflow productivity? How do you see that people are continuously engaged? How do you measure their performance? How do you keep them motivated? And the future of workforce is a new thing. The post-COVID-19, people started re-looking at what am I doing? Why am I doing what I am doing? So people are working from home. They are with family. They see suddenly you find that a busy executive who was 24/7 in aeroplane is at home, who has never seen a house for the past so many years for such a long time. So very interesting. Future of workforce is the new area. The new norm of working is evolving, and across the globe, the chief human resource officers and the entire management is working on how do we look at the future of work. The next area which came out of my analysis is the workplace. You have one area which is very interesting, workplace. So the new norm, workplace has undergone a change. Where are you working? What are you doing? See, when the marketplace has undergone a change, even the workplace has undergone a change. If your customer is confined to the home, and how are you reaching him? So there are people who are trying to reach the customer. My workforce is half of my workforce in service is sitting at home, whereas my half of my supply chain has gone to the street, where I need to reach the customer who is at home and who doesn't want to come out and do this. What is workplace? Workplace has got redefined. The market, the changes in the marketplace have changed the way we look at what is workplace. Today, the area is public health alignment. You find public health directions are there, protect both customers and employees. You find that, of course, the entire announcement of public health announcement have lost its relevance. The recent market, the puja marketing and shopping I saw, but I'm sure that Diwali also will also have the same thing. But considering the fact that COVID-19 is still at large, so you find that public health requirements and safety takes priority, and what is personal protective equipment, protection with engaging with clients in workplace, so safety policies, regulatory changes relating to jurisdictions. You find confinement zones, and government is not going to leave it like this. My view is that if there is a recurrence of the disease again, and they cannot afford to take chances. So this is going to be the order of the day. Public health requirements, businesses have obligations to take care of both physical health and mental health of employees. This is a very big area. And then you have legal and compliance obligations by governments, by employer. Employer as a business, for example, when you deliver goods, when you deliver goods over platforms through physical touch. So you find that Ola, Uber, you have Swiggy, you find initially they said no, they said yes. You find all types of legal and compliance obligations arising out of the employees. Are they going to be safe? Or customers are going to be safe? So this is a very, very big area, and you find businesses like fine dining or eating joints and food industry, and you find that all of them have to get into this. And what are the workplace costs? Now, so people have surrendered the leases. People have surrendered the space. People have surrendered the buildings. People have sold the real estate. So there are more real estate for sale than what it can. So people are there with places are there for to let. You find proposals across various markets with which do not know when they will get occupied again. So because excess capacity with reference to commercial real estate has been built, and suddenly you find that the demand will not pick up till 2022. So you find what happens to people are cutting costs. So travel policy, what is the travel policy with reference to, because business travel policy, if you need to go and meet somebody in Delhi for the purpose of some interaction, how are you going to work on that? So you find travel policy is a very big area with reference to large companies. People and culture, working from home, how are you going to build a culture? How are you going to interact with employees? How are you making them? So the company started having, Zoom calls, connect with each one, work on meetings, So there are whole set of issues with reference to workplace, people, and culture. And this has become the priority of the top management, and this affects the productivity, it affects the morale, it affects the performance. So this has been the priority, and the next area which comes is real estate strategy. What is the real estate strategy? What are you going to do with the investment already made? Are you going to keep the investments intact, or what are you going to do with assets? What are you going to do with physical assets? So the real estate strategy is a very big area. Are you going to look at investments in real estate? How are you going to work on physical space? Whether are you going to have business models, an operating model around physical space? How does the space allow collaboration, innovation, productivity, comfort, and safety? So how are you going to have technological and non-technological space which is happening? So the place has to be optimized for business and digitization process. So I think physical proximity to workplace, whether it is going to be relevant or not, how are the employees' ability to go to across geographies. So I think these are the areas. So analysis with the benchmarking has given, I want to sum up, my presentation and give you some thought process. So we first covered customer, we covered customer, and we said first, see, for example, some businesses like movie halls, public transportation system are still in step 1. They are not in step 2 and step 3. But there are certain businesses which are in step 3. For example, technology industry never moved out of. Initially, they were in step 1. So we covered customer focus. From customer focus, we moved to getting the cash flows in order. From getting the cash flows in order, we moved into digitally enabling business. My conclusion that how do you digitally enable your business? How do you invest in digital infrastructure? How do you convert your business to digital offering and digital product? And then we looked at supply chain. We looked at supply chain. Supply chain has been biggest area which large businesses have looked at applications. And we looked at workforce. What is the future of workforce? And then
we will inform you.
If I have to conclude, I would like to conclude saying that management accounting has helped businesses and.
But sir, the criteria that we have provided is best because you will get updation of the current scenario, practical classes. You will online classes are through JBIMS. Yeah, that is yes, sir.
What's it? The management accounting tools. We looked at customer focus because most of the small and medium businesses have experienced low demand, and the customer they have to reposition themselves how to improve their sales. So we have covered. It is very very difficult for me to get into specific industries. There are. If you see certain reports which government has instituted, so there are about 165 industries which they have come out with how the customer and demand changes have come across. So we have looked at, I have dealt in detail on how the people have looked at. So the models which we have looked at is the customer demand and customer focus is moving towards digital delivery and digital direct customers, and digital consumer behavior has moved towards digital model. So this is the first area which I have covered. And then if you move to the next area, management accounting has to look at cash flows, cash flow budgeting, cash flow monitoring, cash flow review, and this we have covered with reference to seeing how business health how you have taken care of how one has to look at availing this incentives, working on financial and liquidity, how much cash business is having, known cash flows, fixed and variable expenditure, negative cash flows. How are you going to come out of negative cash flows? Today, I find almost all B2B businesses, cash flows is the biggest problem because their debtors are not paid them and they are saddled with inventory and they don't have cash. So we address with the negative cash flows is one more biggest area which we discussed. And government stimulus, 10% and 20% additional credit. Many businesses have availed the credit limits. Those people who have enjoying robust credit limit have enjoyed the benefit of government policies. And the level of liquidity has been the focus, and one had to address this. And then we looked at cash flow management, action to manage cash flow very tightly. And then we discussed at length on, are you speaking to the banker and financial service provider? Have you negotiated a better terms? Have you renegotiated a better terms with the supplier? And have you looked at inventory, whether inventory can be converted into cash, or the assets can be converted into cash, and how do you access cash reserves? See, if businesses have been able to attract lakhs of crores by way of investment during COVID, but why your business has not attracted? That means you are not communicating with the business, with a banker, with an investor. So there is additional. In fact, I am privy to a lot of information where private equity and in venture capital as well as sovereign fund are looking at large amount of investment in India. Today, you find that people are keen in investing in businesses, and only maybe my view will be that valuation should not be a problem, but you should focus on cash flow. And then improving the cash flows, how do you increase your demand, and how do you see that you move the inventory towards the customer, and product offerings and price changes? We have looked at cost reduction and insufficient cash. If you have, how are you going to manage that? And then this scenario planning, I am sure that businesses, for example, today, you find some of the business houses are into cash-strapped situation. I don't want to name the businesses, but they have not factored that this COVID-19 issue will continue till October. They said people have thought that it will be there in April, May, June, July, but they have not thought it will go to July, August, September, and October. And I am sure that this uncertainty will continue till March 2021. So there is no way businesses can sit in a relaxed mode. They need to look at how to go about sitting on cash, how to go about negotiating stimulus. The government finance minister has announced that we are open for new stimulus. So we need to work on. Companies have to go back and say that, look, in our sector there is no offtake, or there is inventory. So sustainable. We looked at the pricing strategy. We looked at slow-moving products. We're looking at defer cost and loan models, how you induce savings. For example, this LTA announcement is going to open a lot of opportunity for both financial services as well as this digital, whatever the washing machine or furniture selling, and all these people have to come out with innovative model by which customers are willing to. This happened already in China, where China in the month of July, August, September, they have seen the consumption of consumption of this electronic goods has gone up. So once people started coming to the marketplace, they had additional cash flows. They have chucked the unwanted furniture. They have thrown away the old items. So we expect the same thing to happen in India, But when will it happen? I think this November, December, January, February is going to have a very good demand for industries which are likely to be prepared. You need to be prepared for this. My view is that alternative financial support, people have to be prepared, and people have to continue to interact with the bankers on compliance with documents on their inventory levels, and they need to have a productive dialogue with finance provider, supplier, and the last one is customer. So all the three are important. Both, I find in many industries, the purchase departments are negotiating with the vendors for renewed support. So they have said that if you are able to, SME is able to support a larger company, they have said, okay, you go ahead and supply to us. You supply to us, but don't ask money. We will pay you as and when we get money. Or same way, customer side, whether customer side, you have to negotiate. Many people have come and complained. And in fact, I am dealing with a lot of trade associations where in every trade association, people are complaining of uncollected debtors. People have not paid. So when people have not paid, it is affecting my supply chain. I am unable to produce. I am unable to supply to the marketplace. So this is a very, very tricky current situation, is that people are trying to negotiate with both sides, both customer side as well as from the supplier side. Then this entire cost management, we need to see what is fixed cost, what is variable cost, and see what review the operating cost very efficiently. And we discussed that inefficiencies and waste management, and we looked at what is whether the spend on IT, marketing, sales, HR. So the whole of the manufacturing industry has gone into reviewing unwanted costs. They have started looking at merging companies. They are merging. They have started saying that reviewing the cost, reviewing at the accounted cost, and how efficiently they can manage the thing. And then this cost management through efficiency also involves discussing with the supplier for price reduction. People are negotiating for price reduction, and similarly with reference to customer also on that side. And then we discussed that long term, whether how are you going to. Other areas we looked at digitally enabling business. We had a very long chat on hardware, software, remote working, enabling thing. Cyber security, investment, cyber security, and business continuity, incident reporting. We looked at platform optimization, because these are areas where people are not. Some of the small and medium enterprises have not understood the digital infrastructure investment. So platform optimization, and now they have understood that digital is the way for future. And this whole set of disruption has forced businesses to look at digital infrastructure investment and aligning the business processes for. And then I discussed this investments being made, or people are forced to look at digital version of their offering. How they can work on reaching out to the customer through digital mode and digital apps and things like that. And I think new softwares and common platforms, what platforms, employee preference on platforms, and virtual enablement of hardware, remote model. And this is a very big area. We see when I am talking to people here, please connect with your customers and see on this, because I have found the people who are successful and the people who have been doing very well in the past 3 months are those people who have adjusted to the virtual way of looking at this. And productivity has been the focus, and people are still working on this productivity. So about at least 30% reduction in the productivity, and you find that remote working is causing it. But I should give credit to certain industries like technology, IT, and IT enabled, where productivity has gone up because people are at home and they are not traveling for 1 hour here and 1 hour there. So when you are getting into this when you do performance evaluation, the output per hour and how many hours people are working, how effective they are, you find that in certain industries like technology as well as in remote customer support and remote technology support, you find that productivity has gone up. So you find we need to look at that. We talked about this. We found that the government as well as other infrastructure optimization is being the focus, and how we look at, and many businesses are yet to get into outsourcing of technology. So people, this is a very big opportunity for people to outsource. I remember to have worked with large companies in the last 10 years to move them towards digital world and to move them to ERP world. But now whatever people are struggling for 3 years, 5 years has happened overnight. So infrastructure today, people understand and appreciate why you need digital infrastructure, why you need to work digitally. So the old school of thought which used to be there, where people are resisting the digital transformation, are now understanding what it means. And definitely to that extent, people are willing to change the way they work. And this companies have to invest here. And I find some of the large groups which are very averse to move to digital have realized that there is no way they can go away from digital way of working. So I think with this I will conclude, and I'll wait for questions to come. So any questions? Are there people? You can unmute.
Yes, sir. There are questions, sir.
Yes, sir.
Somebody can read out some questions.
The first question is, during the pandemic, long-term strategic plan may not hold good as a base considered to lower strategic plans being medium and short. Therefore, do we need to agree with bottom-up approach being short-term to long-term only seems to be good decision-making strategy? I think it's a very big question. Shall I repeat again, sir?
I'll come to that question. See, I think the question is relating to this slide. Yes, sir?
Yes, sir.
See, these strategic decisions are not taken on a day-to-day basis. Strategic decisions are taken once in a while. In the case of companies, generally once in 3 months where the board meeting is there, or when you are going for an additional fundraise. But long-term decisions are taken. But today, when I sit here in COVID-19 environment, I feel that there are long-term decision-making is involved in the matters which we discussed. But tactical and operational matters are many times people. I find why companies remain small and medium entities, because most of the time they are saddled with operational decision making, and they are unable to distinguish strategic decision making from operational decision making. So my advice will be that as a top management, you need to sit in a disciplined manner and review the operations and data and extra. See, one of the areas where people don't look at is external. When external, they always internal. But you need to always look at external. There is an internal and external has to be aligned. So my view is the strategic decision making has to happen on a periodic basis, depending upon the size of the company. Operational decision making has to happen almost, it depends on how many shifts you are having and how many manufacturing locations you are having and how many marketing offices you have. So depending on each operational unit, head has to look at operations. And tactical middle management is what is the confused lot. In most of the companies, I have found that there is no proper connectivity between these operational people and the strategic people through this middle management. So that is why I call it as structure. Structure drives the growth. You need to create a proper structure where the middle management understands what is their role and how they work on. That is we call it as the span of control. The span of control. So all the three are important, but definitely if managements have to look at strategic decision making, but they should not get confused between the operational decision making with the strategic decision.
Another question is, sir, Can you please explain step 2 of cash flow in order again?
See, this is a very big area. I think most of the businesses have got. I will cover the entire cash flow one round quickly. See, the first thing is cash flows. Cash flow. Getting the cash flow is the focus. People have to sit on cash. And business health, I mean, basically you need to look at what are their inflows, what are their outflows, what is the liquidity. So you need to get the accurate information, complete information, how much cash you are having, how much it will survive. You need to know what is the bank OD, what is the bank balance, what is the credit limit is, what is the overdraft. Realize access to equity market, how much you can raise equity market, because many IPOs have gone on hold. Some people have come out with IPOs in this period also. But what is the known cash flows, whether we can expect how much revenues will come, what is the expected cash flows from revenue for the next 6 months, fixed and variable expenditure outflows, negative cash flows. If I have negative cash flows, how long I can survive, what is the balance, how much time I will have this, because if I have 100 crores, and how long I can survive this 100 crores for the next 3 months. And effect of seizing government stimulus, if government, yeah, I expect definitely Reserve Bank to come and expect give some more stimulus. And because the lockdown has continuing, and this not really, the revival has not. So what is the action which you are doing on manage tight cash flows? The people have to, today is not a time to tell the world that I have cash. I think you have to tell, I am sorry, I'm unable to pay you. So this is tight cash. You have to sit tight on cash flows, and one has to be careful about every rupee which one is spending. But the financial management advice has to be, you have to, in the first point which here is, speak to the banker. Tell the banker that you need cash. Banker has to, see, today the unfortunately, the banking industry, thanks to this, I mean, at least particularly in the case of some of the public sector merger, banks of merger and the transfers also, you find the banker going very slow on new limits, and banker, you need to have a dialogue. You need to speak to the banker, increase the limits. Tell them that your assets have been given as a collateral 2 years back or 3 years back or 5 years back, and their values are more. You have to increase your limit. You have to discuss with your financier. You have to speak to multiple bankers and NBFCs. And repayment holiday, you try to rework on, renegotiate the term loans with reference to repayment. And in fact, I think we need to speak to the ministry also to say that this particular year, see, they have said default, the insolvency code has been relaxed. But I don't think the government should say entire 2020 no repayment required. It should move to 2021. So this 2021 should not be considered particularly cash outflow. But again, the bankers have been expressing, private bankers have been expressing concern in the Supreme Court and things like that. So, but my view is that at least for all practical purposes, 2021 should become non-existence, and it should move towards 2021. But you only the crying baby gets the chocolate. So we need to, if you want better terms, you need to go and renegotiate the term loans, renegotiate the lending rates, renegotiate the terms. So the interest rate and repayment terms have to be renegotiated, relooked at, and you have to be on a regular basis. And this requires some amount of transparency. One problem with most of the companies is they come back and they are busy with their own operations. You need to have constant interaction with your loan provider. And then outstanding data is one area where people don't have time. Is okay, they are happy to dump inventory to the customer. But unless you follow the debtors, you have to follow up with the debtors for collection. You need to say that, look, you please provide. You need see now today every business is taking it light for payment. So if most of my manufacturing clients are telling that it is difficult to recover the outstanding debtors. So you need to have See today, if I had one person in my finance department, he will only go to the bank, he will only go to the customer, then I am saddled. So you need three-way link. One, you need to have better terms from the suppliers. You need to negotiate with the customers to collect cash. You need to speak to the finance providers for better terms and better limits. Otherwise, your business is going to be in trouble. You are going to get into problems. See, 2021, 2020, 2021, 2022, 3 years, you are going to face this challenge. So we need to see how inventory can be converted into cash, how assets can be converted into cash. So cash is going to be the priority. So under this situation, you need to work on how to get cash. Even if it is some investment, you are going to speak to somebody who has money. You promise him that you will repay him with 2 times, 3 times his investment is going to. So we need to sit on cash, and I think sound financial management advice. And many times entrepreneurs think they know whatever they know is better. No. See, you need advice. You need to speak to your financial service provider and management consultant or your company banker, whoever is organizing. Then this cash flow priority, you have to improve cash flows. How are you going to improve cash flows? The first thing is sales. How are you see, you don't take your salespeople advice and say no sale is taking place. Ask them, what have you done? See, the managements have to spend more time with the sales force, marketing force. And I see a lot of consumer spend happening on advertisement for consumer goods, but industrial goods sale is really not up to the mark. So how are you going to create the demand? How are you going to push your service? So you need operational cash flows. The message should be very clear to the operating team from the top management that we need to generate cash. See, manage the demand. You need to price changes. See, management has to sit and say how much is the price change? Can we work with the banker? See, can we work with the banker to see our offering through finance through somebody? So how are you going to lubricate the system with cash flows? See, the government in the month of April, May, June has clearly come out with ensuring that the demand supply side is not killed. The government has done its part, but reference to your side, if I am a company, I want my sales to take place. I need to be pushing my marketing team and sales team and see that they are exploring. See, if that effort is not there, the demand will not come. So you see cost reduction. What is the cost reduction strategy you are working? What are the costs which you have said this cost is not going to be incurred? Zero. That's it. I'm not going to incur costs on this. That has to be very clear. What are the costs which you can defer it? Saying that, look, I don't need every month. I need once in 3 months. So you find that I find successful companies have worked on cost reduction, making the cost zero in certain areas. People have surrendered lease agreements. People have retrenched employees. People have cut down the work, the outsourced service providers. So what cost can be deferred? And then one area that people have to look at is insufficient cash. When you are cash starved, when you are having limited cash, you need to assess very clearly how long you will survive keeping that cash. Once cash becomes evaporated, your going concern creates problem. Today businesses have to focus on how much cash they have and how long will it service. That means the entire working capital cycle has to be very, very tightly managed with reference to supplier credit, supplier payments, production system, customer sales, customer conversion of customer outstanding to from the inventory to the customer debtors to cash, that cash collection, and that again the whole cycle. So unwanted expenditure. So very clearly, the managements of companies should work on week to week cash scenario planning. If my customer is not paying, how am I going to manage my cash? If my banker is not going to give me additional limit, how am I going to manage my thing? If my supplier is not supplying, I have got my customer order, I need to deliver. So I have to go to some other supplier. This is called scenario planning. Scenario planning has to be done by the top management. Today, as we speak today, I know that some of the large groups are looking at one more fundraise because they feel that it is an opportunity for them to raise funds, and whether they need it or not, they want to sit on cash. They think that their quality borrowers are not there in the marketplace, and bankers are saddled with cash, and they feel that they have the ability to tell the bankers or investment bankers or private equity houses to say that we are the right people, you have to fund us. So very clearly, scenario planning has to be done, and I am sure that November is going to be a good month, December is not going to be a good month, January is going to be a good month, but February may not be a good month. March is going to be a problem. As March, everybody will try to squeeze. We need to plan. So in the next 5 to 6 months, cash flow priority has to be looked at. And then, we need, nothing wrong in going to state government, nothing wrong in going to central government, the stimulus package, relief programs, SME relief, what are the reliefs available? What are the lease terms which can be renegotiated? What is the sale and lease back which we can offer? How can we use government grants which are taking place? How can I repackage my offering to see that new limits, new loans can be taken. The next 1.5 years, government and the financial system should support the entire manufacturing and services sector, without which this is going to be a chaos in Indian economy, and this will not happen unless the borrowers and we are business houses, we are from business. We need to go and ask this banker. We need to go and ask those CII or whatever the trade agency which is there having a dialogue with the. So option for assistance has to be explored. And then pricing strategy. You need to dump goods on the customers. I don't find companies going to customers and dumping goods. They're all sitting and waiting for customer to cut them. See, today, let us understand, customer is not going to come to you. Sorry, nobody is going to come to you. We need to go to the customer. So what is the pricing strategy? How are you going to change your strategy to reach before your competition reaches to the customer? We need to reach to the customers. And what is the fate of slow-moving items and non-moving obsolete items? I am sure today we are saddled with about 10 to 15% of normal inventory is not at all moving. See, it is the supply chain is saddled with finished goods which are not, nobody is taking, it's all are there, inventory is lying there. See, production is there, over, is lying. But I know for heart of heart, some people are doing invoicing but the goods are not. So if you see between inventory and receivable, there are a lot of issues. So you see that slow-moving, non-moving items have to be, checked. You need to collaborate with financial institutions to see that the customer is getting financed and he is motivated to take the goods. So we need to come out with innovative ways of supporting the demand. And I am sure that government is willing to do its part, but whether the consumption is taking place, I'm not sure. But definitely, the fault, according to me, the fault lies with the industry. Industry has to go into the customer marketplace and speak to the customers. So my view is, what are all various alternative financial support which you can enjoy? Have you documented it? Have you approached them? Have you been prepared? Have you prepared cash flows? Have you looked at investors? Have you spoken to people who will invest in your business? I am sure that large amount of money is there to be deployed. Preparedness for fundraise. Are you prepared for fundraise? Have you created, reports? Have you I see almost every day I find, in the marketplace, people are now currently busy with fundraise proposals and talking, negotiation. Talk, discuss, speak to the people, go around. Ongoing reporting to the banks is a must. I don't want businesses to take it for granted that reporting can be relaxed. because the more you are transparent in reporting, the more, and the banker will trust you. See, today you have, state finance corporations, you have banking system. So you find that ongoing reporting to the banks and financial institutions create much more robust trust by which you are be able to get more money. See, if they trust you, see, nothing wrong in telling people that I have a problem. My inventory is not moving. They are willing to support you provided you share the problem. If you hide the problem, you will not get additional money. If you arm twist and tell them that, no, I sold it. And say, you need to be careful to tell them that, fine, people are not willing to take the inventory, but we have spoken to them, they are willing to take procedures. What are the procedures which are there? Are you following the procedures? Are you having a process? How are you utilizing the cash? How are you managing your cash tightly? You document and show to the banker that you are speaking to your suppliers. And you have spoken to every supplier to say that I have better supplier terms. And then every customer you see that you are trying to adhere to the. We need to see the one thing which I see many business houses which create some problem for themselves. See, if you treat others well, you will get treated well. If I treat my supplier well, my customer will treat me better. So my view is your reputation has to go up. Use this COVID-19 situation to your advantage. You become trusted partner between, there has to be three parties, that is supplier, business on one side, customer on the other side, finance provider on the other side. This is a four-way partnership. See that this partnership, you are going to come out as a winner in this partnership with your business partners and holders. And then I discussed this efficient operating costs, operating revenues, focus on creating operating revenues. Look at operating cost structures, throw out the inefficiencies, minimize the waste, new ways of operating the businesses, how are you going to improve the cash flows? Have you seen a budget IT spend, marketing spend, HR spend, sales spend, logistics spend, production spend? Have you really looked at this? This is a wonderful opportunity available for cost control and cost reduction. So businesses have to sit and then re-engineer their cost. They re-engineer the entire matrix of their production methodology and discontinue areas which are not required, which will preserve cash, and then collaborate with suppliers and customers. So this I feel that one has to look at that, and I find that unless you have an internal team and you have an external collaborative partner, you cannot have long-term cash in your balance sheet. You need to have a good team which constantly works with you to see that they raise money for the purpose of business. And then you look at raising money. See, I'll tell you, today, if the interest rates have come down in USA to 0.odd%, if the interest rates, Japan has become negative, if interest rates have come down very well in London market, and interest rates in Middle East are also suffering because of oil prices, India will drive investment. And I am telling you, you dilute 25% and sit on cash. You tell them that India is the future. And I am sure that I have done my business for the past 20 years very well. But now another 5 years is going to be a great time ahead, because the alternative to China is going to come. If you are going to look at long term and negotiate with the investment providers, and I am sure that your cash flows will improve very well. And I don't think that for that, one of the important area which an investor looking, are you digitally enabled? So digital enablement is a must. Your customer you have to get to reach to the customer. Your supply chain has to be robust. Your marketing and sales has to have digital strategy factor. So I feel that cash flow, I think I've answered this question. And any other question is there, sir?
Sir, last question. The question is, Is it good for a private limited company with turnover of over rupees 500 crores to go for listing? The company has sufficient cash flows within the company.
See, I'll tell the truth. I'll not give a sweet coated answer, because I work with Security Exchange Board of India, and I used to be a faculty in UTI, Institute of Capital Markets, from 1994. My answer from a public figure will be different, but my advice to the particular company: the listed companies have become a circus. Every quarter, the obligation for a promoter to go to a listing will be far higher than unlisted. So let me be frank in telling, the company is sitting on cash. Why do you have to go for listing? Is my immediate answer. Because my experience has been that if I get my promoter funding at ₹10, share price is 10 rupees, I move towards from 10 rupees to 200 rupees. From 200 rupees, I become 600 rupees. From 600 rupees, I have to make it 800 rupees. From 800, I have to make 1,600 rupees. See, my view is, why do you need the cash? See, if your growth strategy, if 500 crores, if I have to go to 1,500 crores, a listing is required, because I need to move from, because this question did not say which business and what it is, but if I have to build a strategic capability to compete with my competitor, a listing will be one of my criteria, because I take money from the market at a very, very attractive price. And then somebody recently asked me, what is the difference between a debt and equity? I said, debt, when you borrow money, that person borrowing money will touch the feet of the lender till such time he borrows money. After borrowing money, this guy has to go and touch the lender has to touch the borrower's feet. So that is debt. But with reference to equity, all of us know that God exists. So we go to God, and equity is like debt. When you say equity, once you invest, after that the shareholder, it is companies. See, it is the money never. So only God only has to save you. See, the question is, to list or not to list depends on whether you need strategic capability to being built inside the company. If you are going to build strategic capability, market share, you want to go to the next level of growth, 2,000 crore, from 2,000 crore to 6,000 crore, I would say that listing is a very good option. But for this, you need very good technology, very good leadership bandwidth. You should be willing to change yourself to get into compliance. Many times people think corporate governance listing requirements are compliance. No, listing requirements are codified, successful formula. Today, Infosys cannot be at this level without having been disciplined for the past 20 years. So TCS gone into a very different level. So what I am trying to tell is, my view is, if the management has got maturity, you have to prepare the management with reference to compliance with corporate governance. So you need to see, many times it becomes very difficult for us to share the data with customers. The moment customer comes to know that we are making 40% margin, he wants to renegotiate the price. If your business is so strategically positioned by which you are making huge margins, you reach 500 crores with that type of strategic advantage, you don't want to share that profitability with third party. So why do you have to list? You don't need to list. So my view is, it depends on the industry, depends on the aspirations, depends on the management. Any other questions, sir?
Sir, this was the last question. So we, on behalf of Committee on Management Accounting, thank you very much for taking this session and beautifully explaining the concept. And we look forward to your support in our future academic activities also. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
And thank you to all the listeners who are very patiently listening. Thank you very much to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.